And now we look at paintings in color. The two largest paintings hanging in the show, and the most complex, include an Asian diptych, Into Asia and Ground Zero, both ink and color on paper, each 5 by 9 feet, mounted as huge hanging scrolls. The diptych's subject is to imagine an exodus from the Western world into Asia. The first painting, Into Asia, sees the exodus on the march, illustrated by episodes such as a peasant Apsara berating a seated Buddha as she points at the arrival of this uninvited mob, and a red-robed, bald neophyte brandishing a pink lampshade as if it were the lantern of enlightenment, and a nude blonde woman who tries to attract the attention of a large person buried off stage. In this painting, the Eastern gods in their places seem to pay little attention to the incoming swarm. The second painting, Ground Zero, shows something of the culture of our society that the swarm is leaving behind. The rooftops of the Vatican and its city rise miraculously through the smog. The heads of Buonarroti, his Pietà, his Bacchus, poke up miraculously through the cobblestones, encircled by the coils of a benign three-headed serpent. Death looks gigantically down from the on-ramp of the Golden Gate Bridge. The ovens of Belsen, Buchenwald, and Auschwitz are cold, abandoned to the bodies of the slain. The figure of Delacroix's Liberty leading the people is impaled on the prow of a World War II destroyer. The transport steamboat beached in the lower left-hand corner of the painting lacks passengers because they're all headed towards Asia and the lands of the rising sun. All sorts of notions are at work here, but I hope this will give you an idea of some of them. As we move along, the first gallery of the retrospective exhibition displays a variety of paintings of all sizes on canvas and Japanese paper. The Seedings of Enryakuji is a painting of a forest precious to the Japanese on the slopes of the holy mountain Hyeizan, just outside Kyoto. Picnic Under the Peaks is a vertical, scroll-mounted abstraction, highly colored, light in spirit, the opposite in feeling from the large black and white memorial painting Dresden, which commemorates the destruction of the city of Dresden in 1945. Using here the method of impressing weathered wood grain on paper to portray a tragic event rather than the miracle of growth and regeneration which forest energies and the rainforest screens celebrate. In 1999, my wife and I returned to San Francisco from building a house in Kyoto, Japan, and living there for almost 10 years. In Japan, my work consisted almost entirely of landscapes, villages, mountains, and the annual produce of the seasons in ink and color on paper. Ohara Hillside in ink is a typical example. Back in San Francisco, it took a year or two to reground my perspective to the new never-left-home sensation of coming back. One day I encountered myself coming out of the paint store with a canvas stretcher, some stretcher bars, a roll of linen, a jug of gesso, a handful of brushes. And there, bent almost to the sidewalk under the load, yours truly. For a week or so, I couldn't seem to get going till after midnight, avoiding the rising sun, you see. It wasn't really a painter's block. It was more the early onset of a visual blog. The result, in one corner of the gallery, you'll discover a stash of oil and acrylic paintings on canvas, non-objective in subject, except for a pair of oils depicting the Bridger mountain range outside Bozeman, Montana, in late autumn. Well, thank you for your patience. I hope it's been as much a pleasure for you as it's been fun for me. One of these days, if you find yourself strolling in the area of San Francisco's Sutter Street between Grant and Kearny, come on up to 250 Sutter and up to the third floor. But when we say Western Gallery, we mean exactly that. Drop by and you'll see why. The gallery owner, Doug Johns, is perhaps the principal source of Western books and Western Americana art in the Western United States. Until then, see you there. Thank you.